me about it. Come on, let's talk about it. Change up the things you see. Open your mind to possibilities. Find your power, passion, and your purpose. You know it's time for you to walk in greatness. Let's murder mediocrity. Slay your goals, live out your dreams. Right now. Inspirational perspective.
There's something very specific that I want to address in regards to relationships today. Because it's been coming up in my conversations with clients, man, I would say since the fourth quarter of last year. One particular thing for clients who are in relationship and for clients who are looking to get in relationship. And that thing, this is when it's like, I wish I had, I wish I had multiple languages I could pull from where you can use the right word. I think sometimes, this English language, man. Anyway, it doesn't always, there aren't words that adequately describe what I'm trying to refer to here, but what I would call it is your energy. I'm going to call it your energy, right? Your energy in relationship. Why your energy determines the outcome of your relationship, whether you are in a relationship. And by the way, the outcome doesn't mean necessarily the ending. This is the scary part for those of us who are married, right? It don't mean it's going to end. But, you could say to death do we part, but what's the outcome when people look at that relationship? Is it a relationship they want to mimic? Is it a relationship that they admire? Or do they look at it like, because we all know a relationship or two that we'll look at, and they don't have to say nothing. They're not on the same page. And one thing, let me say this. This is what I love most about us as human beings, is we are designed to notice or point out frauds. We're always looking for the fake. So one of the most, I would say, because I've been there, where you run into the couple that's faking like they get along. Have you been there? Like they fake in public, like, it's all good. They have an agreement, like, if you don't do me tonight, I won't do you, right? And so one to start to go, the other one to cut their eyes like, we gonna do that here? You know what I'm saying? And, the other one to stop, take a sip of their water, like, but you see, like, you can feel the contention, right? The energy. This is what I'm pointing to. Now, when I say the word energy, and by the way, single folk, y'all can laugh at them, but I'm coming for you too, okay? I'm coming for you too. Because there's also an energy that people who want to be in a relationship but aren't, they're giving off. And I want to talk about that energy as well, okay? But I'm noticing it's this theme, man, with my clients in relationship and those seeking relationship, that they aren't being fully aware of their energy. And when I say energy, frequency, like think frequency as well, right? Because as human beings, we give off a frequency. So their frequency, another way to say this is their vibration. I want to just break down this whole idea of energy, frequency, and vibration. Now, if we're going to talk about the three components of the universe that matter the most, then vibration and frequency are two. The other one is sound. Now, and track with me. I really want you to pay attention to what I'm about to talk about today. And, you might, Linnell, you're going deep. no, I'm not really going that deep. This is something you should just know. if you're living and you have creation intent. When I say creation intent, you want to create around you. You want to create your life. So you care about your health, you care about your relationships, you care about your finances, you care about your spiritual journey. Then these are things that you want to know. Okay. So 3 components that matter in the universe. I would say almost matter most in the universe. Frequency, your vibration, and your sound. Everything around you is created out of these 3 structures. We were talking about this last week, right? After the show, we'd be having these good conversations sometimes. All right, so but now, many of you know the name Nikola Tesla, right? You know, old school scientist that, by the way, died incredibly poor. Whenever somebody dies like that was so renowned, you should check them out. There's a reason why they didn't gain any traction, okay? Anyway, he was probably the genius, him and Albert Einstein, the 2 geniuses of the 20th century, okay? Albert Einstein is known for developing the equation for what is now today quantum physics or quantum mechanics. I'm going to be real quick with this, but I want you to understand. All matter in the universe, on the earth, in the earth realm, including you, is made up of protons, electrons, and neutrons. Everything. And when you look at these protons, electrons, and neutrons at a microscopic level, there are 3 things that are occurring. There's some level of frequency, there's a vibration, and there's sound. Now, you can't hear it, but there's some level of sound, right? And this is what this is what is the creation of the physical world, physical manifestation. So the table right now that I have, like when I hit that, you heard that sound because of the table's frequency vibration. My frequency vibration against that created sound. That sound creates its own frequency and vibration and sends waves, which, by the way, go through the airwaves. You all can hear that. So this is the power, then, of frequency, vibration, and sound. Your energy, I'm just setting the space so when I use the word energy, you all understand what I mean. Your energy is your frequency and your vibration. And you're emitting this. Now, to take it one step further, you're emitting this as a creative being. Right? So you're pushing out something that is bringing things back to you. Right? Think of a boomerang. Push it out, it comes back in some kind of way. Men who are listening, remember this because we're going to talk about the impact our energy has on our relationships. The man in particular because of his polarity. All right, so that's piece number 1 to start the conversation. Now, you all watch what happens. We're going to be in the middle of the 8 o'clock hour. Somebody going to call in like, you didn't say this, or what do you mean by that? They're going to be offended. And we already had this whole conversation about, you feel me? So y'all track with me. Energy, frequency, vibration. Now, here's the other piece that I have to bring in. We're going to talk about relationship, then we have to bring this in. And that is the law of polarity. The law of polarity. Now, let me say this, and I'm going to be straight about it. We live in a time where when you talk common sense law and principle, people will attack it. And I want to be very clear today. I'm talking about relationship in terms of relationship with man and woman, okay? So somebody like, well, why he didn't, that doesn't apply. Like, I'm just talking about man and woman, all right? Can I do that? Can I have a conversation about men who desire to be with women and women who desire to be with men. And by the way, if you desire to be with somebody else, that's fine. It is. That's just the conversation I'm having this morning. All right? There's my other little, you got to put these in, okay? My little asterisk. Because I don't want anybody to be offended or anything like that. I love everybody. I promise you. I promise you. Okay? Okay. Now, I say that because in order for me to talk about the law of polarity, by the way, I didn't make up this law. This is not Linnell's law. This is one of the 12 universal laws. And if you're listening to me, you all should have an understanding of the 12 universal laws. You really should. Okay? But the law of polarity is one of the laws I want to talk about today in terms of relationship. And the law of polarity states that there is an opposite for everything in our world. There is an opposite for everything in our world. And this is necessary to balance the universe. Okay? This is necessary. So everything has a duality and a built-in opposite that cannot exist without the other. We got that? All right, this is the law of polarity. This is not Linnell's law, but this is the law of polarity. And I'm using this to teach for the right. I'm setting the context for the show, okay? All right. So the law of polarity. There is an opposite for everything in the world. And this brings the necessary balance that we need in the universe, right? This is why gravity works. Right? These are the laws. So everything has a duality and a built-in opposite that cannot exist without the other. If one side of anything has the potential to exist, by the law of polarity, the opposite expression has to exist somewhere as well. Okay? And some years ago, really smart men tried to disprove this. All right? And they couldn't. They were like, they didn't understand how the other existed somewhere else, even on the other side of the earth. It exists. They're like, but when they found it, they're like, wow, this is, they did, many, many years trying to disprove this. Finally, they figured out this is what it is. Okay. All right. So don't come at me. Come at the law and the scientists. All right. Many of my clients who are in relationship are looking to recreate the relationship, and they're like, well, how do I do this alone? Don't I need someone else? Right? And I'm like, well, I'm not coaching your wife. I'm not coaching your husband. I'm coaching you. And so it's up to you. And then they say, well, how can I don't have the power to transform my relationship. And I say, you do have the power to transform your relationship. How, Linnell? Because your energy and your vibration. Listen to this. I just talked about the law of polarity, right? Your energy and your vibration as a man, let's say I'm talking to a brother. As a man, if you show up a particular way, because of the law of polarity, men, if you show up in your masculine, like your woman almost naturally has to show up in her feminine. Right? So let's say, I'm just putting this out here so we can really understand the importance of energy. So let's say that I'm having issues, or I feel like my woman is more masculine, or, this is what will happen is a lot of guys will point the finger. You need to change. Hey coach, she is this way. Right? And it's like, well, I'm not talking to her. I'm talking to you. What can you do to transform the relationship? And ultimately, the answer is his energy, his frequency, and his vibration. Now, this will be the time to go ahead and ping him and tell him to listen. Okay? This will be the time. Now, I'm not talking about acting masculine. That can be dangerous. I'm not talking about trying to be masculine. I'm talking about really doing the inner work to show up and emanate a different frequency. Right? So let me give you a quick example. If as a man, I tend to be reactive, so I tend to allow stimulus to motivate my response, my reaction, right? Then it's likely that the energy that I'm emanating is basically chosen by the person I'm interacting with. I really want you to hear this. Like, think about what I just said. If I tend to react as a man, I'm just talking about men right now, right? As a man, and when you think of man, I want you to think like, when you think of, by the way, I said masculine. That turns somebody off. Let me say this real quick. We just talked about the law of polarity, energy, etc. Masculinity is an energy, okay? In itself, it is not toxic. I want to say that. In itself, masculinity in itself is not toxic. Unfortunately, what I believe is you have men who have negative energy, and it's been labeled masculinity, right? Because it's aggressive, when really it's just aggression. It's not masculinity. Masculinity is, or the masculine is not aggressive for no reason. We're going to get into that in a moment, right? But it's not aggressive for no reason. Now, a masculine man will defend his territory, but typically he's not asserting himself into other territory. That's a sign of something else, not masculinity, okay? That's a sign of insecurity. It's a sign of a different type of energy. I want to be very clear, right? It's a sign of a different type of energy. What's happened in our society today is because men have shown up as misogynists, right? Taking advantage of women. What was the name of the movement? The Me Too movement. A lot of things happen where men in power, right? Men in power were seen carrying very negative energy, a domineering energy over women who they had some level of influence. Then it was, this toxic masculinity. It's like it wasn't masculine. What they did was not masculine, okay? It was something else, and I want to be very clear about that. Because what's happened is men have been somewhat instructed not to walk or carry themselves in their masculine. Like to show up strong and to show up clear and powerful is wrong. And it's the furthest thing from the truth. All right, so let me get back to my point. But I wanted to put that in there, again, as another asterisk and qualifier. I hate that it's so difficult to talk about relationship now, but, it's got all these qualifiers and things that you have to say so you don't, whatever. Anyway, you all get the point. So if I'm in a relationship and I am looking for something different in my woman, first, if I decide to wait it out, you're going to be waiting, brother. Let the married men with some years behind them say amen, okay? All right? You going to be waiting, all right? For both the man and woman, the way to transform your relationship is by going inside and gaining clarity on your energy. Asking a question, what is my frequency and what is my vibration towards my spouse, towards my significant other, about this relationship, okay? What is my energy? What is my frequency? What is my vibration towards this relationship? Well, you don't understand, man. I'm married to a mean woman. I'm like, okay. But do your work. Do your work. Because again, based on the law of polarity, as you begin to shift, it automatically requires that your opposite, your woman, shifts too. It just does, right? This is the best explanation I can give for doing your work in relationship. Why it's so powerful to do your work. You want to see something else from your spouse? Do your work. Do your work. Because as you do your work, you begin to transform your inner core that is emitting your frequency and vibration, your energy. And as that signal changes, your opposite, your spouse, your significant other, they can't help, but their dial has to turn too. This is how it is. As a man, do I have efficacy? What is efficacy? Efficacy is the ability to produce an outcome with the least amount of effort. The ability to produce an outcome, a desired outcome, with the least amount of effort, okay? So do I have efficacy in my relationship? Do I have efficacy in my relationship, all right? Now, my efficacy comes from how I handle stimuli. What's stimuli, right? Or the stimulus, okay? That's anything that I'm encountering is the stimuli. So I walk in at the end of the day, my woman is upset about something, she goes right at me, okay? That's the stimuli. Now, again, remember, your efficacy, like your level of efficacy, has to do with how you respond to stimuli. So in that moment, who are you being? She's coming at you, something happened, maybe she asked you to pick something up, you forgot, whatever it may be, right? Whatever's happening, there's energy coming towards you where you're like, really? This is what I have to walk into? And then there's a decision to make. The more powerful you are, when I say powerful, the clearer you are, the more committed. This is why everybody in relationships should have a goal, right? Because there's an intent in terms of who you intend to be. Not in exception to the stimuli, but who you intend to be always in relationship. Who I intend to be with my wife, okay? So, and by the way, as a married man, I'm not saying I'm perfect, and nobody is perfect with stimuli. But I like to think that if someone was going to give me a grade, I get a passing grade. You get my point? It ain't 100%, Justin. You feel me? That would make me perfect, right? But I like to think that I get a passing grade, okay? And that's the idea. All right. So the stimuli is coming at me. As a man, this is when who I intend to be. If I intend to be masculine, strong, I'm reading what somebody put here in terms of masculine, strong, clear, powerful, protective leader. By the way, 3 components that I want you to think about of masculinity, right? This comes from G.S. Youngblood. He wrote this in his book, Masculine in Relationship, phenomenal book. Okay. But what he says is the masculine is made up of your first ability to respond versus react. Notice that, right? To respond from my place of commitment versus react. That's first, right? Second, my ability to provide structure. Listen to this. My ability to provide structure. All right. Now, mind you, there are 2 people in a relationship. I know some women are like, well, I don't need structure for my man. You know, it's like, just give me a second. Give me a second. Right. Because let me give you an example. Right. Our family, we just went through a move. And my wife, she was in the kitchen. And she was, putting things up. And for a moment, just for a moment, I had an opinion. Just for a moment, I caught myself. I was like, you gonna put that there? And then I was like, man, this ain't your room. This ain't your room. I don't need to provide my wife structure in her kitchen. Right? Like now, my tendency is to want to provide some level of structure. But I got to know when it's her turn to provide structure, right? So I'm like, I said it and I was like, no, don't even pay attention to me, babe. This your room. Put it where you want, right? And she was there with another lady. They started like, what do you think? Well, I just walked out. Let them do that, right? I can provide structure somewhere else, okay? So it's also knowing when, right? But the second part of masculinity is a man's ability, and women, you should be listening to this, because this is what, if I'm dating, this is what I'm watching for. I'm watching for, number one, does he, react, or does he respond from a cool, calm place? Like, how does he handle this, right? That's number one. Because let me tell you this. If you notice he react, somebody do, man, what you, and it's like it's directed towards them right now. Right now, it's directed towards them. Later, you will be the victim, okay? And that's in both cases, man and women. Second, your ability to provide structure. And then third, your ability to provide safety. Safety, okay? Your ability, your family, your woman, they should feel safe in the home that you provide them, the neighborhood you provide them, and also your physical presence should make them feel safe, all right? If it doesn't, and you're not disabled, right? Because if you're disabled, I get it. And here's the thing. A masculine man that's disabled can still provide the vibration and the frequency of safety. He's already thought it through. He's already thought it through. All right. But I'm still like, okay, disability, whatever. But if you're not disabled, then you should be able to provide some level of safety. All right. A lot of jokes these days about men who back down. Just notice that. A lot of, some of the hottest comedians talk about, I ain't the one. They'll, if she's smacking somebody, she gonna get smacked. I'm backing up. Right? And we laugh at that. But in real life, that ain't funny, right? And you talk about losing a lot of respect. It's real hard to shift the energy after that. Okay. So that's when I say masculine, those three things, okay? I want you to practice noticing your relationship energy. Practice noticing your relationship energy. Here are some energies for you to consider. The first is masculine, feminine. I'm going to give these in alignment with the law of polarity, right? So the opposite of the masculine and the feminine. Where are you coming from? Now, let me be very clear. I guess I'm going to stick with the brothers for a little while. Most men that I talk to swear they're masculine. Right? You can't tell them different, and they will be offended if I was like, well, bruh. Right? Well, they swear that they are I'm a masculine man. So let me ask you a few questions, like to determine your level of masculinity. When was the last time you were in a back and forth with your wife? I mean, back and forth with your significant other. Back and forth, like ping pong. Like if somebody was listening to the conversation, like it was like she say something, you say something. She hit low, you hit low. She swing high, you swing high. Like she ain't coming for me. That's feminine, right? When was the last time you had a strong, and by the way, there's nothing wrong with emotion. I want to be very clear, all right? I want to be very, very clear. However, there's a difference between being emotional and emotionally intelligent, right? I still have the emotion. I can name it, but I allow my neocortex to guide me versus my amygdala. My amygdala is the reptilian, part of the brain that just reacts, right? My response comes from the neocortex because I'm grounded in that for my family. I need to think this through. What's the best long-term response, the best long-term decision? What commitment am I coming from? So another question is, when is the last time, this is for men again, in determining your masculinity or the energy that you're emitting, when was the last time you just reacted? She said something and you was woo off the. It's like that's all she needed. Like woo, she pressed that button, and all the lights went off. It's like, right? That's feminine. That's feminine. Okay, because a lot of times we like, I'm masculine. It's like, and by the way, a masculine man can carry feminine energy. It's okay. It's okay. Let me give you an example where feminine energy is fine. My wife was gone, and my son hurt himself. And a lot of times, I'm like, you good, get up, etc. But this time he has some blood. And you know how children are with the sight of blood, right? It's like, oh, Lord, right? He was like, yeah, I'm going to die. Hey, man, you good, bro. You're not going to die. Let me clean. But I could tell he needed comforting, right? And I had to literally shift because my normal way of being is, you good, man. Let's put some water on it. Let's put some peroxide. And I could tell, like, he ain't coming out of this. He needs comforting. So I had to go into nurture. Nurture is feminine. And it's nothing wrong with a man going into nurture in any place where it's necessary and embracing the feminine to get something done, right? In this case, comfort my son. I actually put him in my arms and squeezed him and said, man, it's cool, bro. You're going to be all right. He started, okay. He needed nurture in that moment, right? Not masculine, get up, whatever. And I could tell, believe me, my wife would tell you most of the time, I'm like, get up, bro, right? He needed nurture. So as men and women, we can bring both energies. Again, we're talking about energy, vibration and frequency. I gave my son feminine vibration and frequency. It calmed him down, right? That's what mama does very well, calmed him down. And then after we had it all, fixed up, we went back to the masculine. I said, you cool, man. He started laughing. I was like, you was crying, bro. He's like, nah. Like, you was crying. You was in my arms. We had a good laugh. We went back to the masculine, right? He's like, it don't hurt that bad. I'm like, I couldn't tell, right? Back to the masculine. Okay. All right. So I'm sharing this because as a man, you should know where your energy is. This is just an open conversation. I'm going to tell you something. If you feel slightly triggered by it, there's likely somewhere to look. If you're just a little, you're like, See, a lot of people tuning in today, they're like, ooh, relationship talk. And then they hear it, they're like, right? They want to hear the juicy, what she said, and why don't men, and why can't we get along? And I'm actually telling you. I'm actually teaching you why as we go through this, okay? I want to talk about what I've been noticing in the energy of single clients and what's been getting in their way of actually achieving their relationship goals. I want to talk about that. So if you are single and you're like, man, like, why is it not happening for me? You want to listen to the next segment. You want to listen to this next part of the segment. Call your single girlfriends. I would say the brothers call you single boys, but a lot of us don't admit it. We don't even understand the power of having your polar opposite, right? If one of the 12, think about this, if one of the 12 universal laws is the law of polarity, right? Everything must have its opposite. Then if you a grown man and you don't have your opposite, something's fundamentally, according to the universal laws, missing. Something's missing. Like, and I'm not talking to young men I'm talking to you seasoned brothers, right? Like, you seasoned and a bit overcooked, bruh. It's time. It's time. And the reason why things don't just click is because you're missing your opposite. According to the law of polarity, let me read it one more time. It states that there is an opposite for everything in the world. You're missing a part of you. And this is necessary for balance. You ever wonder why some of these brothers ain't balanced? And let me say this to the women listening. When you meet a man who's off balance, don't judge the imbalance, because likely you're imbalanced too. You need each other. You need each other. This is why the Creator has the institution of marriage. This is why the apostle wrote, it's not good for a man to be alone. The law of polarity. Okay. Women. I'm not going to just hit on the women, but the majority of what I've been noticing in my one-on-one conversations with clients comes from women. Let me put this out. And by the way, this is what I'm noticing is getting in the way of their ability to powerfully create the relationship they desire. Now, let me tell you about these women. These are powerful, successful, financially well off. Let's say they're financially like in the top 10%, right? And that's a broad category. It's unfortunate that when you get that 90%, it's a drop off, right? But most of these women, top 10% financially. And they have relationship projects. They're looking for their significant other. And here's the thing. They have been successful in coaching with creating in almost every other category with their goals, right? And this is part of what made me really focus in on this, because when it came to health and well-being, it was like, okay, got it, right? And some struggle, a couple clients struggle, but for the most part, they have it, right? When it comes to work and money, they may desire more, right? But they got it. Bills are paid, They're working with a coach. That's a luxury. That tells you a lot right there, okay? And in terms of purpose, most of them are very clear, like they're doing work that aligns with their purpose as women, which I think is notable, because I'm harder on men in that area, all right? Especially men who want to be in relationship. You should know your purpose. You should be clear on your purpose, because that is going to be the compass for which you guide your family. So they're creating powerfully, but then there's this gap in relationship. Now, right now, how many brothers and sisters, like, you have this, like, you feel this, like, man, what is missing? Like, why can't I just create this? And again, let's go back to how we create. I want to start here with how we create. In the earth realm, how we create, we're all creators. Let me start there. We're all creators, right? How are we creators? Because we were made by the Creator himself, Yah. And Yah gave a piece of his spirit to us, right? And that's what provides us life. If you wake up, your eyes are bright in the morning, then that means your spirit is alive, and your spirit is a piece of Yah. Okay? So the macro creator of all things, God, created you and gave you a piece of his spirit, which is why we have dominion in the earth realm. Okay? Which makes you a micro creator. Now, to prove this, all you have to do is look around you and see the many creations that men and women have created, from novels to skyscrapers. Those are all creations that someone put a powerful spiritual intent out and turned into a reality in the earth realm. This whole idea of energy and creative power, right? So how do we create? I just talked about we're creators. I set the tone, so we're creators. So then how do you create? How do you create? Well, you create from your spirit, from your spiritual essence, right? So again, if Yah is the creator of all things, and he gave you a piece of him, which makes you a micro creator, then every creation comes from the spirit. So first it must be created in the spirit for it to manifest itself in the earth realm, right? Now, y'all listen to this. This is going to make a difference for you, not just in relationship, but in your life. Because some of us, we want to create some things and we've been trying to figure out how, and I'm giving you the formula. I'm giving you the formula for how to create things. If you know me personally, you've seen what I've created in my life. Like, you can create that too. I'm giving you the formula right now, okay? So, your spirit is how you create. So first you create it in the spiritual realm before it can manifest itself in the earth realm. By the way, let's just sit there for a second. This is why so many people struggle in a relationship and creating a relationship. Because you say with your mouth you want it, but you haven't meditated and truly affirmed that thing in your spirit. Now, let me tell you how I know. Because I'm in the conversations. I'm in the coaching conversations where people actually admit to me, but there's a piece of me that's afraid that if I get married, I might lose myself. Right? So they're withholding the spirit from the creation. I want you to really hear this. I'm about to break it down for you. Right? Some folks are like, I really want a man, but you really don't. Your words say really, but your spirit is not in agreement. Your spirit is not in agreement. You're withholding your spiritual energy from that area of your life because there's a part of you that wants to maintain full control by yourself, be able to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, go where you want to go, travel when you want to travel, and you'll say it. But then in the next breath say, but I really want a man. No, you don't. Not until you embrace it spiritually. This is why now somebody's saying, okay, Linnell, whatever, there aren't that many good men. And I would say, I think that's a wise tale that people have been telling, that has been perpetuating itself. Because I know a lot of them. I know a lot of good men. I know a lot of men that are married with children. And you're like, well, I ain't talking about them. I'm talking about them because they came from somewhere. It's a lot of good men out here. But they're not being attracted to you because of the law of polarity. Uh-oh. Let's go back. I said I was going to say it, and somebody was going to be like, what? I set the whole tone in the first hour around the law of polarity. Go back and watch it if you felt offended just then, right? Go back and watch the show. You hear me explain the whole thing, okay? Hey, you don't have to agree with me. What I'm giving to you is fundamental truth, all right? Another reason, many of us, just because you have a yearning for something, I want to be very clear, right? Just because you have a desire for something doesn't mean that you'll create it. Like, just be with that for a second. Be with that. Because most of us have a desire for more money. Most of us have a desire for a lot more money. But you haven't created it. So why would the realm of relationship, the pillar of relationship, be any different? Desire does not denote creative energy. Now, it directs your energy, but then you got to do inside work to make sure that you fully giving yourself your mind to that possibility. Like, I'm open. You have to be open to receive the possibility. All right, so let me give you a little bit more, because somebody might be like scratching their head right now, like, well, what do you mean? So before the break, I said practice noticing your relationship energy. Did you know that if your energy is scarcity, that could drive away what it is you're trying to bring to you, right? So what I mean by that, if your energy is scarcity, they're no good men. That vibration, again, we talked about your energy is your vibration, your frequency. You're sending out that frequency, which is why nothing is coming to you. If it's anxiety, here's the thing, some of us get anxious about this. Oh, I got you, Clarence. But I'm just looking at the Facebook stream for those of you all listening. Your energy is how you create. Now, let's go a little deeper. This is why your emotions are so powerful. Your emotions are your energy in motion. So I've been talking about energy as frequency and as vibration, right? So then think about emotion is now your frequency and vibration moving. Where is it moving? Outward. You're pushing it out. But for every action, right? I'm going way into science on this. Because we got to understand this. For every action, there's a reaction. As I push it out, something comes back. This is how karma occurs, by the way, right? It's the whole law of karma. Because I push something out, you know, Joshua said, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Because that's what you're putting out. That's what you're putting out. Most healthy anxiety, when I say most healthy anxiety comes from a lack of clarity. But in relationship, in particular, what I notice about relationship goals, when a person has anxiety, it's because they're used to controlling everything. Uh-oh. I'm anxious because I control my health, Linnell. I went to the gym, like I controlled it, right? You know, I control my money. You know, I doubled down, I made more, I controlled all that. Now I'm in this relationship project and I got my hands on the realm and I'm squeezing, they're like, come to me. And then I come and now I get anxious. Now I got anxious energy. I thought I could just make this happen. Now I'm anxious. I'm putting out anxious energy. All I'm going to get back is a lack of clarity. A cloud that's going to sit on your desire. If you have anxious energy in relationship, this is where, and by the way, it's setting you up for success when you're in relationship, because if you can give up the whole sense of control when you don't have control, because you don't have control over him or her showing up. You don't have control over that. So to try to control it is ludicrous. This is where you, especially for my woman and feminine, this is where you allow the creator to take over. You're in practice for allowing your man. That was good right there. That was, That was like you were in practice when you just say, you know what? You will bring him to me. I believe that. And you let it go in your spirit. Like you actually in practice. Because when he shows up, they can be like, hey, this is why I want to take you to dinner. Wow, what restaurant is that? What they got on the menu? It's like, just calm down. It's okay. He got it. When I say he got it, the creator's got it. Right? When you practice with him, you're ready. This is why they're not showing up. You're not ready. Practice noticing when you're questioning when, like, oh, who, what he gonna look like? Practice notice being in the question versus the knowing. Here's the knowing. Let me give you the difference. The knowing is, I'm so in tune with the creator. I'm so in tune that what happens for me next in relationship is going to be right for me. That I don't have to ask where he at. I don't have to ask when he gonna show up, when she's going to show up. I just sit in the creator's control with the knowing that they will as I prepare. I know, so I'm just working on myself. See, because that's an energy. Knowing is an energy. You ever talk to somebody who, you saying something and you realize that maybe what you're saying ain't right because they have that look of knowing on their face? They kind of look at you and they go, oh, yeah. And they have that look of knowing, that vibration, that frequency of knowing. And you go like, wow. Well, what do you think? you almost immediately acquiesce. Well, what you think? You think it's like, well, then they start to drop that knowledge on you. They're knowing, like they have that frequency. They have the energy of knowing. That's what I'm talking about when you like, oh no, I'm going to meet him this year. I'm just in preparation. I'm going to meet her this year. I told you all my story. 2013, February 2013, I declared that I was going to be engaged to the woman I was going to marry, and I didn't know her. I didn't know her. And I wasn't obsessed with, where she at, what she looked like, there was a knowing. The creator's going to take care of me. As long as I am doing the work of my purpose, I'm in integrity in my dating, the creator will take care of me. December 21st, 2013, I put a ring on it. That's the power of declaring and practicing faith and knowing. So I know what I'm talking about. I want you to pay attention to your personal integrity. Well, Linnell, what's that? Your personal integrity is the alignment of your personal commitments, the action that you take, and the words that you speak. Let me tell you what's happening for a lot of folk. Let me tell you what's happening. Monday, after a horrible weekend, Lord, I just want a man, a good man, Lord. Like almost in tears, right? Because the weekend was bogus, right? Here's the guy. Lord, I'm tired of being lonely. I just want a good woman. This is Monday, right? They go through the week, and they're in this prayer or whatever it might be. This is where we have a breach in personal integrity, folks, because when you put a leak in your personal integrity, your spiritual capacity to create is not there. This right here is solid. I hope y'all get this. Like I'm giving away the gold. So now it's Friday. Girlfriend calls, let's go out. Okay, go out. Start chopping it up with somebody who you know ain't it. Maybe even let them go further than they should have. There's a breach in your personal integrity. How are you going to attract the one when you let anyone in? It's disturbing your frequency. It's disturbing your vibration. Let me tell you all something. If you believe you're going to sex your way to the one, it's the furthest thing from the truth. You're sexing your way further away. Why? Because if your energy or your vibration or your frequency is how you attract, right? And I said all creation is spiritual. Well, guess what else is spiritual? Sex. So when you allow someone to lay with you, they're basically redirecting your spiritual frequencies. This is why some of y'all chasing folk that you never intended to chase. This is why you can't think about your goals. Like they completely disrupted your spiritual frequency. Now, your plan is they plan. Well, coach, I can't. I'm so tired. Why are you tired? Well, he didn't get home till 1. I couldn't get over there till 2. This is somebody real life. Somebody shaking their head. Oh, I can't believe that. I would never. And somebody thinking like, ooh, he telling my story. Why you would never. This is somebody's reality. Your personal integrity is not just comprised. This is new for me, you all, right? The Creator just revealed this. Not just in this moment, but, overall, right? But how I've always thought about and taught personal integrity was your commitment, your actions, your words. What I believe is the fourth is your energy. Because you could be committed, you could be taking the action, quote unquote, right, on paper. You could be saying the right things. But if your energy is off, what do you mean by energy, Linnell? Well, when you think about relationship, you think negatively. You're pushing off a negative, like, you're surrounded by negative relationships, and so that's what's coming off you. Or there's anxiety. Or on a personal level, get this, on a personal level, you're insecure. Your insecurity is an energy. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago where, I was saying brothers call in if I'm lying, if we can't spot the one in the room that will let us do what we want to do. It's an energy. It's a frequency. This is how things are communicated, you all, without words. This is how a man can look across the room and be like, okay, oh yeah, she fine, but she ain't going. Frequency, he could feel, her frequency right there. She's not sure of herself. Her vibration is like she doesn't understand how powerful she is. She doesn't know her spiritual capacity. I can, and this is what happens, I can take her spiritual direction and turn it into physical favors for me. And that becomes, and by the way, that can become what's most important to her, following that man. That's how people get disrupted. Okay. Insecurity is an energy. If you deal with that, go get support, therapy, coaching, whatever it may be. But if you deal with that, man or woman, that's an energy that is emanating off of you. And that is why people, by the way, what comes back? Exactly what you didn't want. Exactly what you didn't want. An insecure man walking up on a woman, he gonna get exactly what he didn't want. Ugh. Who me? You talking to me? Right? It's gonna make him even more insecure. Oh man. Man, you change. Hey, you don't even gotta change the way the man look. You don't gotta change the way the brother dress. But if you change his energy, she'll be like, oh, hey, and then she'll be going home like, I normally wouldn't talk to a guy like that, but he was nice. It was just energy. They're like, yeah, his shoes were bogus. I know, girl. And I'm like, I'm going to have to take him out. If it work out, I'm going to have to get him in a shoe store. Like her whole energy about you is different because your energy about you is different. Whoo-wee. I wish somebody was teaching me like this back in the day. Goodness, I'm just saying like, Okay. You can overcome insecurity. You have to remember that you are a child of God. You're a child of God, and you have a spirit. And because you have a spirit, you are worthy. And because you're worthy, you are everything. You need to walk like it. You need to talk like it. You need to move like it. And you need to emit that energy. Emit that energy. And if you have trauma that's not allowing you, that should be your first priority. Because the better you feel about yourself, the better everything else goes. The more money you make, the better you look, the more people are attracted to you, and the more powerful you are spiritually. It is what it is. That's why I say it got to be your first priority. People like, I can't afford therapy. You can't afford not to. Okay. All right. So here's another practice. Oh, let me say this. This is something I've been sharing with my clients who are like in this mix, in this gray area around relationship right now. And I've been giving them this reminder. I want you all to write this down. Write this down. What I've been telling them is, remember that the combination of your spirit, for clients of mine, people who know what I'm talking about, your spiritual essence, remember that the combination of your spiritual essence and your emotional state is how you create in the earth realm. Let me say that one more time. Remember that the combination of your spirit, and your emotional state is how you create in the earth realm. Let me tell you something about emotional intelligence, you all. See, these are the things they don't teach in school. They just, he's just that way. Already we're teaching my son, like, boy, you better manage those emotions, manage your emotions, right? But the reason why it's so important to me that my son learns to manage his emotions at 5 years old is because he's creating his reality as a young spirit. He's immature, but he's creating his reality. He'll say things, and I'm like, and that's the way it's going to go. And he'll look at me. I'm like, that's the way you want us to go today? That's the way it's going to go. I'm already teaching him the power of his words and his emotions. Okay, so remember that the combination of your spirit and your emotional state is how you create in the earth realm. Okay, where are you going with that, Linnell? If you haven't spiritually prepared yourself for a relationship, like you're not spiritually there. When I say you, here's the thing. When you are spiritually somewhere, it becomes a part of you, everything. It's what you think about. You obsess about it, right? And then, so you take that obsession and you combine your emotional energy, the emotional energy of excitement. I'm excited about what's about to happen in my life. You see the knowing in that? I know my partner's coming. Right? I'm excited. I'm anticipating this. See, because when you're out with your girlfriends on a Friday night and somebody like, man, you look good, and they don't meet your conditions of satisfaction, you like, no, thank you. Because I'm so excited about what's coming, and it's clear that you're not it. I know you're not it. How about that? See, people messing up because they don't know. Like, is this it? Is this him? That's anxiety ruling you. That's insecurity ruling you. Those are your energies. That's what you're giving off. For many of us, in terms of how we're creating our lives, I'm going to extend this even to your money. Even to your money, your emotions and your energy are your biggest opportunities. Let me tell you something right now. I'm just going to switch to finances real quick because it's the same thing. Whenever you take a big financial step, let's say you invested some money. Don't you know that the energy and emotions you have towards that money will predict what happens to it. So if you make a financial investment and you go, oh man, and then you start to emanate fear and concern and anxiety towards that, because mind you, the investment is your creation. You created that, right? So you start to put these negative emotive energies towards your money. What do you think is going to happen? And then this is what people say. I knew I shouldn't have did that. I knew I was going to lose that money. Well, it was in your knowing and in your emotional energy that created the loss. It's the same thing in relationship. I used to wonder when people said, I would ask, married people, I say, hey man, how did you, when you met your wife, like, how did you know? And they would just say, Linnell, I just knew. Right? And I'd be like, and it would frustrate me. How are you like, what are you talking about? You just knew. Like, that's not, I want the 3-step process to finding my wife, right? I wanted the how. I always tell my clients, how is a distraction? I wanted the how. Like, what's my 3-step process to finding my wife? They'd be like, Linnell, I just knew. I met her and I knew. I'm like, man, that don't help. Until I met Pam. And then I knew. But hold on. Before I knew Pam was it, I knew she was coming. My energy, my emotive energy, I knew she was coming. I had made plans for Pam. I didn't know her name. So for many of us, our emotions and our energy are our biggest opportunities. Your biggest opportunities. So here's the other practice for my single folks. I want you to notice your uncertainty regarding being in relationship. Let me say it again. I want you to notice your uncertainty about being in relationship. Here's what I mean. I can recall years ago in a coaching conversation with my coach. I was going through the anxiety of the possibility of a long-term relationship. In the conversation, I was saying, how do I know that I don't marry a woman and then she turned crazy on me? Like, I was trying to control the future. See, this is where the anxiety comes from, you all. How do I know that this man, won't marry me and then leave his job? How do I know? Right? It's like, so all these concerns of the unknown started driving up anxiety. So I had anxiety towards my relationship project. Right? And my coach would say, Linnell, you're concerned with things in the future that may not even happen. What's that little cliche around a fear like most of us are afraid of? Like 80% or 90% of the things we're afraid of never even occur. Right? Most of us are afraid of what potentially might happen to us in relationship that will never occur. And that's got us all amped up. We're all anxious about this, So notice your uncertainty regarding being in relationship. Now, here's the thing. If you trust the Creator, like if you believe in the Creator, which is unseen but felt all around us, right? You can feel the vibration, the power of the Creator all around us, and you know that, right? So that's a knowing. Somebody be like, you believe in God? It's like, you can't affect my knowing. I have an experience, right? I have a relationship. You can't affect my knowing of that, right? You can talk all you want. You can be, oh, yeah, and this and that. I'm like, blah, 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 whatever. I know what I believe, right? So then if I believe in that same Creator's ability to provide me my helpmeet or my spouse, then why am I uncertain? Why am I uncertain? I'm telling you, send this to your single friends. This right here, This 2 hours, it'll get them right if they really get it. Right? Folks will be getting married in 2023. I told y'all 2023 was a miracle year. You talking about Happy Valentine's Day. Send them this. Hey, girl, you know I love you, right? You say you want to get married? Listen to this. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. This brother going to get you there. So notice your uncertainty about being in relationship, because once you know, like if I know the Creator, I know He's going to bring me exactly what I need. And then I date with intention as I sort through what I need to learn, because that's all dating is. It's a learning journey. I always tell my clients that, we get these high expectations on dates. It's like, oh, he didn't work out. Oh, this is so hard. It's like, what did you learn? Like, all they're doing is preparing you for your significant other. Oh, you know what? I want a person who is compassionate. I want a person who's soft-spoken. He was just so, oof, right? I want a woman who is kind, right? Because how she did that waiter was not, you feel me? Oh, that's your learning circuit. You're learning what you want. Here's why you're learning what you want. Because it's going to come a day where you ask yourself, why I'm with him? Why I'm with her? Right? It's happened for me. I love you, Pam. Pam knows. She'll say the same thing. That's what I love about my wife. There've been times like, why am I married? Why I marry her? Right? And then the answer comes almost as soon as I ask the question. You know where my answer comes from? All that failed dating. That's where I learned to love my wife when she showed up, right there. Woo, she showed up. I was like, hallelujah. Right? It's like, whoa, here we go. So even at her worst, she's better than the best date I had before her. How about that, right? So now I know. See, some of y'all, you stuck in this dating process because, like, you ain't learning nothing. You got to learn. So now I'm filling out my conditions of satisfaction. So when I met Pam, I knew it was her. And all of a sudden, her value, because I've been playing with pebbles and stones, right? I get a ruby. It's like, that's why it's 8 months. 8 months of dating. And I was like, will you be my wife? You don't got to hold a ruby that long. You don't got to hold a diamond that long. You're like, is this real? Boy, you keep it in your pocket, you might lose it. I'm talking to the men that got a good one right now. You might lose it. If you know, let her know you know. This is for the single folk and for the married folk and for the folk in relationship. Here's an assessment I want you to take. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you emotionally in regards to your relationship project? Now, here's what I mean. 1 through 4 means that you're anxious, negative, and skeptical. Like, just notice your thoughts. If they're anxious, negative, and skeptical, you're on the low end emotionally in terms of creating what you intend to create for a relationship. You're churning right now. You might want to just stop, pause the dating, and get support somewhere. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you emotionally in regards to your relationship desires, your relationship goals? 1 through 4 is anxious, negative, and skeptical. Like, you think about it, but you're like, ain't no good man. Or one date throws you off, throws your energy off. When one date can throw your energy off for a goal, that means you're not grounded. Hear me out. When you allow one interaction to completely throw you off a desire, a commitment, and a goal, that means you're not grounded in it. That's what I mean about a spiritual grounding. Like, I know this is my year. That was a horrible date. Let me write down what I learned and what to avoid and what to look for. Thank God for that date. Thank God for that man. I'm going to pray for him because, that sister that was bad. I'm going to pray for her because she needs some help, but I'm not the one to help her. All right? But when somebody can throw you off, You're like, oh, this ain't, you're not grounded. You're not about to create nothing no time soon. And I mean it. It's just, it is what it is, okay? Now, if you're 5, you're neutral. Ain't no energy. That means you're apathetic, you're indifferent, and you can't create anything like that. 6 out of 10, if you're a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that means that you're on the curve of positivity and curiosity and excitement about relationship. Here's what I mean by curiosity. You have a bad date. Maybe somebody who's toxic comes at you, okay? Man or woman. There's some toxic women out there too. And when you're grounded in your goal, instead of getting skeptical or going negative, you go, what did I do to attract this person? Because you want to shore things up, right? You know this person is coming, so I just need to shore a few things up. So you're like, what did I do to attract this person? You know, that's what I mean by curious. Like you're not knocked off your square. Now you're just asking some questions. Let me know if you have questions about that. Here's one right here. When you say work on you, in the meantime, I think I know what you are referring to, but it just occurred to me that I digest this as fixing myself or becoming perfect. I love some insight. Ooh, that's good. Thank you. Thank you. Here's what I mean by working on you. If you remember, I talked about, you know, like if you notice there's some level of insecurity. And again, this is where I mean get curious. So I'm working on me, or where I said, maybe you're pointing to where I said pause and just work on yourself. Like stop, if you notice your energy, stop, work on yourself, get to therapy, etc. What I'm saying here is it's not about fixing you. I don't believe there's anything wrong with us. We all come the way we're supposed to come, right? God has taken us on a journey so we can fill in our purpose. Get curious about it. Be like, okay, what is impacting me here? How can I build this area up in my life? So it's not about fixing yourself. It's about enhancing what's already there. Really leaning into your gifts and allowing what might not be there, the things, areas where we're insecure, right? Let me give you an example, you all. I'm 6 feet, 195. I've been within the range of this, 10 pounds or so, up and down my entire life. It'd be like me looking at a brother who's, 6'6", 250 all muscle and being like, why are my arms not like his? Like, that's what I'm outside of myself. Like, and so then in the face of that, I'm going to be insecure. I can't show up in my own power. And so whatever work I need to do to fully stand in who God made me, and be as powerful as I can be. Because here's the thing. Stature has nothing to do with strength and nothing to do with power. I was just telling Ade about a video of David Goggins. I tell you about that? David Goggins, if you guys know him, check him out on Instagram. Anyway, he was arm wrestling an offensive lineman. And the offensive lineman didn't win. But his vibration and his energy was all about how powerful he was as they struggled to a point where it got mute. They just let go of each other's hands, called it a tie. Now, in the world of physics, my big man was supposed to win that, right? In the spiritual world, your size doesn't matter, i.e. Muhammad Ali, okay? What's happening in the 21st century, there's a confusion being mixed in. And sometimes you just got to go to the good book to lay it out. The confusion is mixing in terms of who we should be, how I should show up. And I'm going to tell you something. As a man, I was looking for a Proverbs 31 type woman. I got her. That was part of my conditions of satisfaction. One of the reasons you all know my name in the city gates is because of my woman. Because of my woman. And woman, it's not giving up control. You read about that Proverbs 31, and she was buying a field, right? She was buying fields and growing vineyards. So she was still a boss chick, right? But she knew how to make home right. Hey, my inspired peoples. Linnell Harris here, certified ontological coach and trainer. I'm so excited that you're watching the channel. By the way, did you know you can catch the show live at 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. every Sunday morning? You can. All you have to do is go to my Facebook stream, Coach Linnell Harris, catch the stream live, or you can listen to the radio show via iHeart at WVON 1690 AM. But since you're here, if you love the content, I ask that you share it, like this particular video, and subscribe to the channel. I hope you're having a great day.